and listen to that, like what she just said, like that was a bunch of bullshit. And I'm sorry. If you're conservative, I don't necessarily think you're a bad person, I guess. I think a lot of times we're just ill informed. But like if you heard that and possibly thought that was like a coherent, logical argument and like a good hello family. How I've missed you all. It's Fierce Steez, I'm sure you know that. Very happy to be back. Before we jump into everything, I want to give a big shout out to a John Muntz 4065. You guys can thank him for bringing me out of hibernation. I'll put it up on the screen here. He commented and said, Fierce Steez, come back about a month ago. I said, as you wish, I shall return. Give me 1 month. 1 month it has been, and I am here. So, as you guys saw, we're going to be talking about the death of nuance and understanding. There's a great debate with Dean Withers against. Actually, I'm not familiar with the right wing commentator or personality, the Maga lady, but they debate, and I love a good debate. This Jubilee stuff has really been interesting. It's really just been like a breeding ground for some toxic, lame rhetoric for a while. But I love a good one-to-one debate, and Dean Withers usually holds his own. You know, he has good talking points. Not saying, you know, I'm just picking him for a side, but you know, he's a good debater. So let's check it out. Let's hop right into it. Oh, John Muntz, please drop your Cash App and I will buy you lunch. And that's one thing I want to do moving forward. Please, a big thing I want to do is just start conversation and engage and see how people feel and what people think, get opinions, you know, on all kinds of things. So please, if you leave a thought-provoking comment, something that really catches my eye, I will buy you lunch. So, John Muntz, please drop your Cash App when you see this. And let's get into the video. Again, death of nuance.
Democrats shut down our country. People lost everything because of that. How is that funny? What, people losing everything is hilarious?
Spare me the fake outrage. You responded to that by saying, what's funny, Dean? People are dying. Moments after, in the last topic that we debated, saying that this VA nurse deserved to get murdered by 12 shots in the back by a lawless ICE thug.
Welcome to Face Off, where two people debate four claims. One clock, no interruptions. Today, Dean Withers, a liberal political commentator and debater, faces off against Emily Wilson, a conservative media personality. The clock starts now.
My first claim is Donald Trump's mass deportation is anti-American.
I would say the most American thing would be protecting Americans. I don't see anything un-American about it. People are crying at ICE for doing their jobs. They're intervening with ICE doing their jobs. That's why they're getting shot and killed, rightfully so. I defend ICE doing their jobs. Both of those deaths of whatever their names were could have been completely avoidable. Probably better off without them regardless. And yeah, I mean, Obama was like a 3.1 mass deportation. Donald Trump are not doing well, probably like 890. I mean, Biden was up there like 1.1, something like that. So it's just the hypocrisy of it all. It's like, if some people are against it, some people are for it. I want every single illegal out of the country, every single one, at any cost. And then other than that, I just think it's funny that when he does it, it's different. Kids in cages, all this stuff. I mean, they've all been doing it, so I just don't know why they care when Trump does it.
Well, there's actually a lot that you said there that I want to touch on, and I'm sure that
I'm going to jump in too, but the big thing for me that I think makes this un-American is that this is what America was founded on. Immigration. I mean, people coming here from other places. The Native Americans are the only people that could be considered native to this country. Everyone else literally immigrated here. We learned this in school. So this idea that this country belongs to one people, any group of people in particular, is truly un-American. And then to take it from an ideological, like to take it out of an ideological or like philosophical context, quite literally, this country was built on immigration. They were telling people to come here, advertising that this is a place that you come to for a better life. So she wanted to talk, say the hypocrisy about, certain people getting mad. That's the hypocrisy for me. Like, how do you literally structure the nation behind this and then all of a sudden make new rules about who this country belongs to or who deserves to be here? And not to say that, just open it up and let all illegal immigrants in or anything like that, but It is quite un-American, I do believe, to try to turn around and just delete all illegal immigrants when they're a key pivotal point of our a key pivotal supporting point of our population at this point. Aside from, again, the ideological stuff, or even just the straight up, like, you told people to come here and advertise this as a great place to be. So of course people are going to want to come by any means. They literally are a pillar of our economy, from slaughterhouses to hospitality work to the farms in our fields. Like, this is stuff that literally would crumble our nation. If we removed all illegal immigrants from our country today, the country would stop working today. So let's see what he says.
We will during this topic. And it's funny because you actually brought up one of the main reasons why is mass deportation has been so anti-American within your first breath. You said there's nothing anti-American about protecting citizens, and then you brought up an example of ICE executing a citizen on the streets of this country. Of course, you went on to say that it was completely justified and that we're better off without them. Let's go ahead and focus in on one of the 3 citizens who has been murdered by ICE, and that will be Alex Preddy. So first, you made a very bold claim. A man lost his life, a mother lost his son, a father lost his son, a hospital lost one of their nurses, and I think the world lost a good man. And your takeaway is we're better off without them, and that the shooting's justified. So Emily, tell me, what is the legal standard that authorizes an LEO and engaging in the use of lethal force ending the life of an American?
I don't know. Go ahead and tell me.
If you don't know the legal standard that justifies a shooting, then why the hell are you sitting here saying the shooting was justified?
The shooting is justified because we see who they are. All the information comes out of it. Oh, he was a loving, same with the woman that got shot. Oh, he was a loving son. First of all, everyone was worried about him. You see the text coming out. Oh, we were worried about his mental health. He couldn't go to work anymore. He wasn't able to practice as a nurse. This whole thing of every time someone dies, the Democrats act like they're this amazing person. It's just not true. They even had to Photoshop the photo of him to make him seem normal so the public would react to him better. Why are you going to a protest? If people love you and care about you and you're a normal, productive citizen, you are not going to interfere with ICE protests, okay? Especially when they're getting death threats up like 5,000%, okay? Yes, you went in to stir up trouble. You're mentally ill. That's why you can't be at your job or with your friends anymore. Your family doesn't give a shit about you, or else you wouldn't be at an ICE protest because you're not a productive citizen. And other than that, when I see it, I'm like, it's justified. Guess what? If I thought someone was going to harm me or my life, I would choose me over them.
So to clarify,
I'll let him go first.
your claim is, I have no clue what the legal standard is that justifies an LEO to shoot and kill an American, but I think Alex Preddy was mentally ill, therefore I think it's okay. Right?
There's this thing I saw. Hold up, I gotta give him up for the cook because he cooks. But I saw this thing that said that a key difference between the left and the right is that, like she said, she over exaggerated it, but the left will. I don't even want to start there. It's not like she said. It's actually different than what she said. The left believes that even if you're a bad person, you still have rights. And that's simple because that's what it is. And that's, we go to the whole due process conversation. People don't understand that because it isn't impacting them now. But without due process, they could do that type of thing to anybody. Like, that's what protects all of us. So unfortunately, it does extend to people you may deem bad, or even, people who are criminals or who have done criminal things. But that's, it protects us all. But the right has this way of essentially justifying the trampling of people's rights if they deem they're a bad person. Or, well, he had mental health issues and he wasn't a good person. Or even George Floyd, like, oh, it didn't matter if he did the worst crimes. I mean, we've seen people who have done the worst crimes get way better treatment. So, and that's really the point that it boils down to. Regardless of what crimes a person committed, they still have rights. And it's like they're willing to throw people's rights out of the window on a case-by-case basis because they deem that they're a bad person or that they're not, fit to their standards. So that's why it's okay that this thing happened to them. Versus on the left, it's like everyone has rights, and we shouldn't be trampling on anyone's rights, regardless of if they did something bad per se, or on paper. And it's just weird to see that the people who are don't tread on me, facts over feelings, and all that stuff. It's like, well, I feel like he should have died because I don't think he was a good guy and he had mental health issues and he shouldn't have been at a protest. So
No, I'm asking you. What is that's not what I do. What's the legal justification of it? Go ahead and please educate me and tell me, but I think it was justified. Yes.
And then doesn't even have like a base level understanding of what they're talking about. I also wanted to add that she's like just they love to toss out sensationalized facts. When I say they, I just mean uneducated people on the right. Um, like up like 5,000%, just like some random number, doesn't know what would even justify shooting, regardless of if the person had mental health or not or anything like that. Like just completely taking this stance that is justifying like someone's death. Like we're gonna like I was even just gonna get past it and like we're just talking about this as like a piece of content. Like this is a person. Like this is a real individual, a human being, and it's just nuts that the mental gymnastics that'll be done in the refusal to confront any logic. But let's see what Dean says.
Well, don't worry, I'm watching the clock. I am going to tell you what that legal standard is eventually. But before I do, I just am trying to determine why you think it's okay a man's life was ended. So I asked you why you think it's justified. Then you went on a 3-minute rant about how he's mentally ill and was at that protest when he shouldn't have been there. So to clarify, you think that his death was justified, his murder was justified, his execution was justified because he was mentally ill, he wasn't perfect like the Democrats say, CNN photoshopped his face, and he was at a nice protest, right?
I think it was justified because of his actions. That is why. Those are other things on top of it which led to this point. But yes, in my eyes, it is justified.
Perfect. What actions?
What actions? When you're going out of your way to go to ICE protests, harass them from doing their job, you're on camera. First of all, if you even look like you have he went with a gun, did he not? Did he not have a loaded gun?
Yes, he did have a gun on his holster, but you should know that in accordance with the Second, Fourth, and 14th Amendment, merely being in possession of a firearm does not authorize an LAO to literally shoot and kill you. So once again, I'll ask, what actions did he engage in that justified the shooting? You said he was harassing them. How was he harassing them that justified them literally killing him?
Okay, it's on video. You've seen the video and I've seen the video. That's what happened. You're going out of your way at a protest. He's been at many other protests. All these people are at every protest. They're known to harm people. They're harassing people, probably online talking about killing ICE agents. You're gonna go to a protest with a gun and a cop sees it as you're harassing these ICE officers that are getting threatened every day. Dude, it's not even a Republican thing, a Democrat thing. It is a common sense thing. It is a common sense thing. I would never, yes, CCWs, I understand. I would never bring a gun to any Trump rally, anti-Trump. That is just not, it's just not a smart thing to do. That's why you end up dead.
Okay, condemn Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse? What? Condemn him? Okay, I condemn him. I don't know.
He brought an AR-15 to a protest, remember?
Yeah, that's insane. I think that's insane. I'm not supporting Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that's nuts.
So you think that the cops would have been justified in shooting Kyle dead?
Maybe. I don't know. If the actions were different, maybe. I think if you're going to go with an AR-15 and you get shot by a cop, I don't think it's that weird whether you're Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever his name was.
Why just a maybe? I mean, this is your defense for Alex Preddy, so why is it was totally justified if it was Alex Preddy, but it's maybe justified if it was Kyle Rittenhouse? Basically, what I'd suggest you say in order to stand by your principle is, and I quote, Kyle Rittenhouse should have been shot and killed.
Well, I'm not going to say he should have. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe he was in a better situation, but also he probably wasn't threatening to kill ICE agents and cops. He was probably more supportive on their side. And also, did he kill people, right?
Okay, so you also just made another suggestion there, that Alex Preddy threatened to shoot and kill a cop. That's not true. What's your evidence for that?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I don't know Kyle Rittenhouse situation. It was a big story. I don't care. I don't know what happened. Don't think he's a bad kid. I'm glad he's not dead. I don't think he should be out shooting people. I know it was self-defense. If it's self-defense, great. That guy, is he defending himself from the situation he put him in? Like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, that situation he's in is 100% avoidable. You can go into all the aspects of it. I don't care that happened to him. I think it was very stupid to be there. There's a reason it doesn't happen to me, because I wouldn't put myself in that situation, and neither would you either. It's a very stupid situation to be in. It's really not that complicated. Avoid dumb situations.
Wait, Emily.
Brother, my dad always told me, don't try to make sense of no nonsense. And I was like, bro, if you just go back and listen to that, like what she just said, like that was a bunch of bullshit. And I'm sorry if you're conservative, I don't necessarily think you're a bad person, I guess. I think a lot of times we're just ill-informed. But like if you heard that and possibly thought that was like a coherent, logical argument and like a good clapback, like she didn't say absolutely anything. Like she didn't address anything. She just basically stated a bunch of opinions in a row, called him crazy. Just there was so many strawman and fake deflection techniques loaded in that is just it's just pitiful. But that's why I called this the death of nuance and understanding, because at a certain point as a debater, as someone who prides himself on being logical, like you just have to know when to concede and know when you're beat. And that simple one-to-one logic he gave her. And Kyle Rittenhouse actually harmed someone. He went there and actually killed someone. Alex Preddy went there and was killed. And it's just clear as day. But when you have somehow coded your mind into believing your own BS, that's how we get this. But like I said, Dean cooks, and he's been cooking. So
this doesn't make any sense, because earlier you said the world is literally better without Alex Preddy because he brought a gun to a protest. Now you're saying that you don't think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a quote-unquote bad kid, regardless of the fact that he brought a gun to a protest. So what it seems like is that bringing a gun to a protest is not the relevant factor here that leads you to the conclusion that Alex Preddy was terrible and we're better off without him, and Kyle Rittenhouse is not a bad kid, but rather political affiliation. And this is another point why I think that Donald Trump's mass deportation is so anti-American, because it's led Americans like you to think that the murder of your American brothers and sisters roaming free in the streets of this country is somehow justified simply because they disagree with you. And going back to ICE, why is it that you tell us you think every quote-unquote illegal should be deported because they broke a law and committed a federal misdemeanor, completely victimless by the way, but then when an ICE agent literally murders somebody, you don't care and you disregard it, then you come up with some quasi-justification for it when you self-admittedly do not know the legal standard that would make that shooting justified. Even going back to that legal standard, which I'll share with you now, you cannot kill somebody for merely being in possession of a firearm as an LEO, because as I previously suggested, the 2nd, 4th, and 14th Amendment, as well as previous SCOTUS case law like Connor v. Graham, which ruled that there has to be an objective reasonableness to an imminent threat upon the life of anybody within the immediate vicinity of somebody that LEOs are going to shoot and kill, and merely being in possession of a firearm isn't one. Even the NRA says this. 2 days after Alex Preddy got murdered, a U.S. attorney from California posted on Twitter that this is totally justified because, well, Alex Preddy brought a gun. The NRA responded by saying that that rhetoric is dangerous and wrong. So in other words, the NRA, who you likely have a membership for, says that your rhetoric is dangerous and wrong when you suggest that he could be shot and killed for merely being in possession of a firearm.
I don't have a membership to the NRA. Thank you, though.
and it's just I don't have it. The first thing you're gonna address out of all that is the obviously facetious, obviously, the obviously snarky portion of this about that, but just simple citing real cases, case law, citing real credible sources. The NRA literally telling you that it is a dangerous precedent to set. I mean, these are gun folks. The NRA saying it's dangerous precedent to set. It's okay to harm someone just because they had a gun on them, on their person, and didn't do anything reasonable with it. And there's not any logic to refute this. There's not any logic that would make her point make sense. You could only believe this if you choose to. You could only believe this if you refuse to consider greater logic. So that's what we're having here. And it's sad. It's sad. And again, the reason I called this video The Death of Nuance and Understanding is because a lot of our country is falling victim to this. And of course, it happens on both sides. But it's just one side that's driving the boat right now and seems to be the main culprit of this kind of individual at this magnitude. So that's why they're the topic right now.
No, I think situation and context matters, and that's the whole point of this. It's not a left versus right thing. Is if you are someone who is no longer working at your job, your family's worried about you, you're clearly brainwashed by the media, you're mentally ill, you're violent, you're going out there and harassing ICE agents, and you're getting these situations to be much worse than they already are, and you also have a gun with you, and you're at the point where you are like physically wrestling with ICE agents and you get shot, that is 100% an avoidable situation. You put yourself there, and I guess, yeah, some people will be like, it's sad, it shouldn't have happened. Okay, well, it did, so there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, I think it's justified. I'm sorry.
I mean, the first 90% of what you said was baseless conjecture and reasonless rambling, okay? You just threw buzzwords out there. Mentally ill, his family didn't like him, quit his job. None of those things amount to an imminent threat upon the life of an LEO to justify them to shoot and kill you. Now, the reason why I only said 90 instead of 100 was the last thing that you said is he was wrestling with cops. Well, when I watched the video, what I saw was him positioning himself in between an officer and a woman. When that officer began to push that woman, he caught her. And then the officer maced him, put him to the ground. Next thing, he was being pistol whipped in the head by 1 while being dogpiled by 7. But at no point did I see a singular action in which would amount to justification for an officer-involved shooting, because even if he was obstructing, mere obstruction does not tell an LEO they could kill you. And even if he was resisting, mere resisting, or even resisting while being in possession of a loaded firearm, also doesn't amount to justification for an LEO to kill you. But I'd say from my perspective that he didn't do either of those two things, and the reason why we saw him wrestle to the ground wasn't because of his own doing, but rather because of the lawless actions of these masked ICE thugs.
Thugs. The people literally here to protect us from illegal aliens raping and killing children are the thugs. Same people like, oh, ICE agents are white supremacist Nazis, and then they're like gay Mexicans literally asking liberals if they can please go do their job because there's a child rapist. Those things are not irrelevant. They do matter. If you are at the point where politics has made you so mentally ill that you are clearly a danger to yourself and others, probably like him and the other woman, as her whatever lesbian wife is telling her to go run over ICE agents, instead of being at home taking care of their children, then yeah, that actually does matter. Mental health matters in these situations because a mentally healthy person would not be in that situation. They would know the danger. They would know that's not a smart thing to do. They probably would be at home with their family or at their job. And I'm like, those things do matter. A normal person does not put themselves in that situation. They did not just run up to them and shoot them. Obviously, we've both seen the videos. We clearly have different takes on the videos and takeaways from it. But in general, I'm like, that's what happens when you put yourself in very stupid, avoidable situations. And it's very sad. Happens all the time.
If anybody's mentally ill because of politics here, it's...
That's very interesting. This is the last point I'll make as you see the battery indicators on, but this, again, sensationalization. Oh my God, this immigrants are assaulting children. And again, of course, anybody, a single incident of this, any single person does this, they deserve the worst of the worst treatment. It shouldn't happen even once. But when they love per capita, right? So I would be willing to bet that if we looked at, strictly illegal immigrants per capita versus members of our U.S. government per capita, especially if we do U.S. service members who are in the military, like per capita, more of them have assaulted a woman or a child than any illegal immigrant than illegal immigrants on U.S. soil. Just because the statistics don't even support this. Of course, we're gonna say the statistics are skewed or lied or whatever, but it's just crazy how they'll sensationalize and go to the fullest extent to paint an example or a broad picture based off of some acute examples when it fits them. But when the literal leader of your party is, accused of doing some of the most heinous things, friends with someone, documented with friends, well-documented friends of someone who's done the most heinous things, and there's no outrage about that. You guys aren't flipping the table upside down. This isn't some, 3-fire alarm that just needs to be taken care of now, and it's interesting. So, but yeah. It's a great video. I don't want to keep it too long in this first one. I'm going to be making a lot more content coming forward, so please bear with me. Like I said before, please let me know what you think. Drop an interesting comment. Give me your thoughts. Leave me something to think about, and I will leave your belly full. I will send you lunch. Thank you. Have a good one.